Hello and welcome! You want to learn how to play the drums? That's a great decision, and I really mean it, because I feel that learning this instrument has actually made me a better person. I have learned so much about myself, about the world, and about learning. Also, music, playing the drums, has brought me to so many interesting places. I have met so many interesting people and made great memories, and I believe it can do the same for you as well. But it doesn't matter if you want to conquer the world stages, just want to jam with your bodies, or maybe even improve your sense of rhythm or your coordination through drumming, which it can. This video will help you get started. At first, I want to address some of the most common concerns which arise when somebody wants to take up an instrument, especially the drum set, and then I will give you many practical tips from my 15 years of experience as a drum teacher. So, let's get started. One important note before we dive right in: there are many videos out there which explain how to play your first beat or your first song, and those are great and you should go and watch them and try it out, but this video will take one important step back. Because I don't want you just to play one beat, I want you to become a drummer. And this is why we will look at the absolute basics, because I want to prepare you to really enter the world of drumming. So watch this video until the end and you will be perfectly prepared. Also on this channel I do have many more videos to help you become the best drummer possible, give you many practical tips and many tools to make you independent in your learning process. And I will mention many of those videos in this video. But don't worry, they are all linked in the description below. So just watch this video until the end and then you can choose one topic you want to delve in further and then just check out the video on that topic. So let's get started. Let me get two of the biggest concerns out of the way right now, and they are: I don't think I'm talented enough, and I think I'm too old. Don't worry, there are no prerequisites. You don't need innate talent. You need passion and motivation, and then you just need the right methods for learning. And contrary to common belief, you can learn totally new skills later in life. I mean, my oldest student at the time is 73 years old. And what I also hear a lot is, I could never do that, I have very poor coordination, or I have no sense of rhythm at all. Well, so what? Those are skills you learn through drumming. Of course, everybody has strengths and weaknesses, but if those are your weaknesses, why not put an emphasis on those and try to improve those skills? That's very brave and a great approach, because if you try to improve your weaknesses, you can learn even more and maybe even make strengths out of your weaknesses. And by the way, there is actually no such thing as no coordination or no sense of rhythm, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to walk, talk, or even breathe. What's lacking is maybe just the ability of accessing those skills on the instrument. This is why you should try out many different methods and find out what works for you. Here also, the advice of a good teacher can help. They might help you finding the right approach for you. And this brings us right to the next question. Can I learn the drums without a teacher? Yes, you can, and all the tips in this video also work if you don't have a teacher. But it really depends on your personality, because some people just learn and work better with some guidance of a trusted teacher. And there are two reasons why you should take at least a few lessons in the beginning. The first one is, you can't really play a wrong note on this instrument, because you don't have distinct tones. If you learn the guitar or the piano, you immediately hear if you play a wrong note, a wrong chord. This is not the case on the drum set. You have to learn a little bit more abstractly. And a teacher with some experience can point out flaws and mistakes you can't hear yet. And the second one is, depending on the music you play, the drums can be very demanding on your body. This is why good technique is so important. So you should seek out the advice of a good teacher to help you avoid things which might hurt you in the long run. Also, experienced teachers just have a better overview over the whole field of drumming and even music, and this way they can help you reach your personal goals more efficiently. If you don't know what to look for in a good teacher, I do have a video in which I tell you how to spot a good teacher right away. A very common question is, do I have to be able to read music? Don't worry, you don't, but again I would suggest that you learn the drum notation, because it's actually very simple. You just have a symbol for each part of the drum set, and rhythm is just very simple mathematics. And we don't even need to worry about musical keys. And Being able to read music has so many benefits. For example, there are some exercises which are just way too hard to learn just by imitating. If you see the notation, you can analyze and understand it much better. And with some experience, you are actually able to read music just like words, and that's an amazing feeling. If you're able to do that, you can just pick up the sheet music for a song you want to play and just play right through it. Also, if you want to work on a very specific topic, you can just pick up a book on that topic and work through it on your own. So being able to read music makes you much more independent. Do I have to decide at the beginning what kind of music I want to play? No, you don't. You can just try out many things, broaden your horizon, and decide later on. But if you do know right from the start what kind of music you want to play, that's good, and you can tell your teacher if you have one, and you can pick out the right exercises, the right skills you need for that kind of music. You can pick the suitable equipment and the songs as challenges to learn the music you want to play. And one very important question is, do I have to have my own drum kit right from the start? And what if I live in an apartment and I don't want to disturb my neighbors? Don't worry, you don't need one right away. There are many different ways how to practice on a drum kit even if you don't own one yourself, and there are actually many methods on how to practice even completely without a drum kit. I made a whole video about that for you with many practical tips and also many practical tips on how to practice quietly. If we talk about practicing quietly, many people think about the electronic drum set. Yes, it is an alternative, but I'm not a fan of those because we have to keep in mind the electronic drum kit is a totally different instrument from the acoustic drum set, just like electric guitar and acoustic guitar. You can't apply the things you learn on the one to the other. And especially children don't learn how to realistically estimate their strength because you can just decrease the volume. Then I would rather suggest negotiating with your neighbors. Maybe there are some times when they aren't at home regularly and you can just practice in those time slots. Maybe you even want to soundproof the room where your drum set is in so you won't disturb too many people. But just start learning. And if you want to stick with it, then you will find a way how to practice regularly, maybe at home or maybe in a rented rehearsal space. If you choose to get your own drum kit, this opens up a few more questions, like how much do I have to pay? How do I even know if it is a good drum set, especially if you buy a used one? And how do I set it up? I won't tell you how much you should spend for a drum set because this of course depends on what you're looking for, your budget, and this also changes over time and really depends on the country you're living in. But by now, drum sets are pretty affordable. You don't have to make a huge investment. Just make sure you don't buy the cheapest bundle because those are often just toys, which might be okay for a child who's just starting out. But if you're looking for a decent drum set, you should stick with the established companies, which usually have beginner series. And when in doubt, just go to your local music store and get some advice. And the great thing is, the drum set is modular. You can change the individual parts. So just get a decent drum set to start with, and then if you know what you're looking for, if your taste develops, then you can change the heads, maybe get different cymbals and so on. So it's a good idea if you just start with a used drum kit, and I do have another video in which I tell you what to look out for if you buy a used drum kit. And also, most importantly, how to set it up, which is very important because a good setup will increase your learning success. You will learn much more if the drum set is set up to your needs, so definitely check out this video. Now let's address the most important question, which is in the title and probably the reason you clicked on this video. How do I start? What's the first thing I should learn, the first thing I should play? I would say ask yourself, what's the reason you wanted to play drums? What's your motivation? Just go and try it out. Just do something. Get to know the instrument. Maybe you have some friends or colleagues who can show you something, or you just check out a tutorial online. Just get started. Everything you do will get you ahead. Of course, there are some exercises which are just more efficient, which will get you ahead faster. But don't let anybody tell you that there are things that every drummer should know or should be able to do. Just follow your musical goals, follow your musical vision. If there is something you can't do yet and you want to learn that, then look specifically for exercises to train that certain skill. This is highly efficient because you only learn the things you need for the music you want to play. And of course, if you want to be a well-rounded drummer and get a good basic education, then you should take some qualified lessons. Or you take up a good educational book as a guideline. The constant turning of the pages is great because it keeps you engaged, keeps you motivated and in the flow. And I want to recommend the Drum Quest book series, in which I am actually one of the authors. These books have a great pedagogical and psychological concept. I'm really proud to be working in a great team from the Modern Music School who have developed these book series, the Drum Quest book series. So if you're looking to be a well-rounded drummer in rock and pop music and have a good basic education, the Drum Quest books are perfect for you. You also learn about the culture of drumming and different styles of music. There is a lot of music in here and some very effective exercises. And there is a link in the description where you can get the Drum Quest books. Can I play in a band right away? Yes, you can and you should. There are some people who just start playing the drums because there's a band looking for a drummer. And that's great because you're playing music right away. You're interacting with others and you always know what you practice something for. You always have a musical goal. So even if you're just a beginner, find some buddies to jam with and just make music. Just make sure that there is not a big gap between your skill level and the skill level of the people you are playing with. So look for people who are about the same level as you or a little bit above you so they can help you grow, they can pull you up. Should I make some special physical training for playing the drums? I mean, we often see photos or videos of sweating drummers and it seems like a real physical instrument, and yes it is. But no, you don't need physical training for the drums because practicing the drums is the best training. But that also means that you should approach your practice sessions like training sessions. You should warm up properly. I do have another very detailed video in which I tell you why and how you should do that. Again, the link is in the description. You should add some rest days every couple of days because, again, playing the drums can be very demanding on your body. This is also why you should increase the intensity of your practice sessions slowly. So if you are a beginner, just practice for 15 to 30 minutes every day and then get some good quality sleep, which also helps your learning. And then after some time, you can increase the duration of your practice sessions. But if you do want to play some very heavy or very fast music, there are some strength exercises which might benefit you, and what is always good for everyone is having a strong core because we have to sit upright on a stool without a backrest. So train your back muscles, train your abs. This is good for everyone and can prevent back pain, for example, and it's especially important for us drummers because sometimes we do have to carry a lot of equipment. How long and how often do I have to practice? And what if I don't have the time or don't have the motivation? Let me at first tell you, you don't have to do anything. You just have to have fun playing the drums. That's what it's all about. And if you do have fun, if you enjoy playing, then practicing is a natural thing that follows because you like to play, you want to become better, you want to practice to improve your abilities. Of course, if you practice more, you will get better faster, but more means more often and not longer. If you practice 5 minutes each day, that's much better than practicing for 2 hours once a week. And I mean, everyone can find 5 minutes each day. And even if not, just actively listening to music or watching drummers play already counts as practicing if you are engaged with it and if you are thinking about playing. That's mental practicing. What definitely doesn't help is forcing yourself because you will just lose the fun. It shouldn't be something that you have to do, but something that you want to do. There is a much better way, and that's make it a habit by implementing practicing into your daily routine. You can also make it a condition, or better yet, a reward. For example, I only get my coffee after I practice at least 1 minute, or you reward yourself after work, after doing your homework, something like that. You need these conditions in the beginning, and after some time, it just becomes inevitable. It becomes part of your daily routine and you don't have to negotiate with yourself. It's just something you do daily. And then, and that's the great thing, you don't have any resistance. You don't need to motivate yourself to go practicing because you do it every day anyway. And also with this method, you will see great results and this will motivate you even more. And this way you will learn to love being outside your comfort zone, because that's where you need to be if you want to learn something new. And the last question, what else do I need to play the drums? Well, of course, drumsticks. But which ones? There are so many different options. Again, I can only tell you, try it out and start somewhere. It doesn't matter where you start. You can always work your way up or down the scale. Just go to your local music store, try out some different options, different variations, pick out a pair that just feels good in your hands. And if you practice a lot, hopefully your first pair will be broken very soon. But by then, you know a little bit better what you need, and the next pair will be a little bit better for you, because now you know that your next pair maybe should be a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter, longer, shorter, whatever. But if you do need a specific starting point, start with 5A or 5B drumsticks. Those are pretty medium length and medium thickness. My personal choice are the 5B Extreme sticks by German company Ice Sticks. But again, it depends on the situation. If I play softer music, I would choose lighter sticks with smaller tips. And if I play very heavy music, I would choose even heavier sticks. What I would also suggest is getting a practice pad like this. This is great because you can practice especially your hand technique, because it feels like a real drum, but it's pretty quiet. And you can also take it wherever you go. But you don't have to buy one of those. Those are pretty easy to make yourself. You just need some hard material and a flexible material and just glue some rubber on a piece of wood and you're good to go. What I would also highly recommend is hearing protection, for example, like this. Maybe it doesn't look very cool, but it's still way cooler than being deaf. And yes, some people are pretty resistant to loud noises, but the problem is you only know that a few years later, and if you are not resistant to loud noises, then it is too late. So just be safe, get some hearing protection. And the great benefit of over-ear headphones like this, or even in-ear headphones, is that you can practice and play to music because the outside noise is dampened and you don't have to turn the volume all the way up and damage your hearing this way. And finally, a practice journal. We will talk about why and how you should use this in a minute. If your most important question wasn't answered yet, please write it in the comments below. I will do my very best to answer it. But now I do have many more practical tips to help you enter the world of drumming and which will save you from a lot of frustration. So please keep watching until the end. You have probably heard my first tip many times before, but this only shows how important it is. Always start slowly. I know it's amazing seeing drummers play very fast, and you probably want to do that too, and that's great. But it's one of the most important principles of learning that if you start slowly and accurately, later on you can play much faster, almost automatically. But if you try to play fast right away, then you might get used to wrong posture, wrong technique, or even cramp up, and this might hurt you in the long run and will prevent you from playing fast. And that's why my next tip is always be loose and relaxed. Interestingly, that is the most important prerequisite for playing fast, because you will go easy on your equipment, you will go easy on your body, and most importantly, you use the stick's natural rebound. It will bounce back on its own. You won't believe how relaxed, how loose you can hold the stick, and it will still stay in your hand and bounce back on its own. Just imagine dribbling a ball on the drum. That's exactly the same movement like playing with a stick in a relaxed way. The same applies to the feet as well. Don't press into the pedals, don't kick the pedals, just raise your leg and let it drop on the pedals while staying loose and elastic in your ankles. My next tip, whenever possible, practice to a metronome. Every musician should have a good timing, but usually it's us drummers who are responsible for the pulse, for the beat in a song. And in rock and pop music, most songs have one stable tempo, which stays the same over the whole song. And drummers with a good timing are highly respected, and a metronome can be your best friend on the way to a good timing, because best friends are always honest. And the metronome always tells you honestly when you are speeding up or slowing down. And this way, with every exercise you do, you at the same time also practice your timing. Also, to further improve your timing, get used to counting out loud while you play. So for example, count out the quarter notes while you are playing different rhythms. This strengthens your sense of where the pulse, where the beat of a song is, while you play different rhythms on top of that. My next tip, always warm up before you play. I know I already said that, but once again, this only shows how important it is. Even if you just practice for a few minutes, take just a little bit of time to warm up slowly, get into the right spirit, because if you warm up properly, whatever you learn will arrive much better in your brain, will be processed better, so you can increase your learning success this way. Practice to music a lot. Because in the end, that's what we're doing this for. We're practicing an instrument to make music. But as I said, on the drum set we can't play melodies or harmonies, so when we practice we tend to forget to play music. So always reserve some time of your practice session for playing music. You can also just practice some of your exercises to music if you find a song that has the right tempo, or just pull up your favorite song and just jam along. If you don't know what song to pick, maybe look for easy play-along songs online, or I can highly recommend the Trinity Rock and Pop app. In this app you will find cover versions of famous songs, and you have the ability to adjust the tempo and the volume of each instrument individually, so you can perfectly adjust it to your abilities. Learn how to tune the drum set. I know this might surprise many people that you can actually tune the drums, and unfortunately many drummers don't know how to properly tune the drums. So if you learn this skill, this will definitely make you many friends, and it's just so much more rewarding to practice and play on a well-tuned instrument. And here especially I have something great for you. A 5-part, very detailed series in which I show you and explain you everything I know about tuning. Definitely check that out. This will get you ahead, and this will make a lot of fun if you play on a well-tuned drum set. Always set yourself goals, big ones and small ones. For example, you want to play a certain song. That's great. Then you know what you need to practice. You can analyze what kind of skills you need. You can look for specific exercises which will help you reach your goal. And then you can make a plan and write it down in your practice journal. Then you warm up, you do those exercises, and then you try to play that song, and you feel your personal progress, and you always know where you are in relation to your goal. You should write all of this down in your practice journal, especially what you did, for how long, and how good it was, especially how fast you played it, because with the metronome you're able to measure your progress. If you always increase the tempo, you know that this certain exercise is working for you. But if not, then you also know that this kind of exercise is just not for you. That's also very interesting for you to know. This way you can improve your methods. And also, this prevents frustration, because sometimes you feel like you're not getting better at all. But if you just compare the different days, different weeks, looking back in your practice journal, you can see the progress you have made, and this is very motivating. And this is already one of the facets of my next tip, and that's always reflect. Especially if you don't have a teacher, so you don't have a feedback on a regular basis, you need reflection. So maybe put up a mirror to correct your posture and your technique. You could also record yourself, audio and video. Or you just asking friends who also play the drums to give you some tips, or maybe every few months or so, you just take a lesson to get some feedback, get some corrections and some new input. What might also help you in this regard is a practice buddy. So someone who's also learning to play the drums or even another instrument, and you can share your experiences, you can share videos and cheer for each other. And my last tip, learn more about learning, especially about the psychology of learning. Because if you know how your brain works, you can design your practice plan in the best possible way. And also, there is a study which shows that just learning a little bit about how the brain works already improves learning success. If you're interested in learning more about that, I have summarized everything I learned about the psychology of learning for musicians in one video. Again, the link is in the description. And also, here are just a few books which I really like and which might be a good introduction to the whole topic. And here is a bonus tip. You see a lot of drummers play like that, with their hands crossing. This has a very specific historical reason, but you won't see me doing that a lot because usually I do something that is called open-handed playing, meaning I lead with my left hand on the left side and I lead with my right hand on the right side of the drum set. This means I don't cross my hands while playing. Yes, this challenges my ambidexterity and my coordination, but those are skills we as drummers want to learn anyway. And it is way harder to learn if you already played this way before, but if you're starting out right now, why not start with the open-handed playing right away? It may seem a little bit unusual, but it is very logical. And the number of open-handed drummers is increasing, so this is my suggestion. It's up to you to decide, and if you want to play open-handed, you will find more tutorials on this way of playing on this channel as well. In the end, let me tell you again, you made a great decision by wanting to play the drums. I learned so much about myself and about the world through learning this instrument. And that you watched the video until the very end shows that you are dedicated, that you are up for the challenge. So you should definitely subscribe to this channel because every week there are new videos about drums, about learning and about personal development through learning an instrument. Please tell me in the comments which tip was the most important to you. I hope to see you in one of my workshops, on tour or in the next video. Until then, take care and bye bye.